The life of Vanessa Caldwell appeared to be the stuff of dreams. A sprawling mansion, glittering charity galas, and private island vacations with her billionaire husband, Gregory Caldwell. But appearances are often deceiving. Behind the perfect facade, Vanessa's world was crumbling. On most nights, she sat alone in the cavernous living room, the cold echo of her own footsteps filling the ornate, lifeless space. When Gregory did come home, his nods were brief, his attention always on his phone. Even during their rare dinners, the silence was suffocating, broken only by the sound of silverware against porcelain. Vanessa's flawless smile masked a deep loneliness, growing heavier with each passing day as she navigated a life filled with opulence but devoid of meaningful connection. Each morning, Gregory's brief nod or distracted kiss before leaving for work seemed to widen the emotional chasm between them. At night, as she wandered through the cavernous mansion, the cold marble floors and echoing silence reminded her of how utterly alone she felt in a life full of wealth, but devoid of connection. Each morning, she would watch Gregory leave the house without so much as a second glance, his attention already on his phone. The echo of his footsteps down the marble hallway lingered, a stark reminder of the distance between them. At social gatherings, her laughter felt hollow, a mask she wore, while her heart yearned for a real connection. Even the staff, polite but distant, moved through the mansion as if she were invisible. Every fleeting interaction underscored her isolation, making her wonder if anyone truly saw her at all. Mornings were the hardest. As Gregory left early, barely acknowledging her with a distracted kiss on the cheek, Vanessa would linger by the breakfast table, the sound of the front door closing echoing through the empty house. Even during her outings, surrounded by acquaintances at charity galas or social lunches, she felt invisible, her laughter forced and her conversations hollow. These fleeting interactions only deepened her isolation, reminding her of the connection she so desperately craved, but could never seem to find. On one particularly quiet evening, she sat by the grand piano in the living room, her fingers lightly brushing the keys. The melody she once played with joy felt hollow now, a ghost of happier times. She glanced at the empty chair where Gregory used to sit during their early days together, back when he would listen and applaud her every note. Now the silence of the mansion seemed deafening, a constant reminder of the emotional distance between them. She closed the piano lid, her hands trembling, and wondered if anyone would ever truly hear her again. She longed for someone, anyone, to truly see her, to ask why her eyes no longer sparkled, but her voice was swallowed by the endless corridors of their empty mansion. And in the midst of her isolation, a storm was brewing, one that would shatter everything she thought she knew. Gregory, while successful and generous, had grown distant over the years. His days were consumed with meetings, business deals, and managing his vast empire. Though he lavished Vanessa with expensive gifts and a lifestyle of unimaginable luxury, what she craved most, his time and affection, seemed out of reach. Their conversations were brief and transactional, their marriage a far cry from the passion they had once shared. Vanessa found solace in her daily routines, filling her time with yoga classes, shopping sprees, and long sessions with her makeup artist, Julian. Julian was in his late 20s, vibrant, charming, and full of life. He had a sharp eye for beauty and a way of making Vanessa feel seen, truly seen, in a way Gregory hadn't in years. What began as casual chats during makeup sessions quickly deepened into something more. Julian would compliment Vanessa not just on her appearance, but on her wit, her kindness, and her stories about her past before she became Mrs. Caldwell. Vanessa often shared tales of her simpler days, particularly her time at a quaint bookstore in her hometown. She would recount the joy of organizing shelves, the comforting scent of old books, and the friendships she built with regular customers. These moments of nostalgia provided a glimpse into the vibrant life she once led, grounding her conversations with Julian without overshadowing the progression of their deepening bond. She described the comforting scent of old books and the warm sunlight streaming through the shop's large windows, recalling the sense of belonging she felt there. These memories became a backdrop for her conversations with Julian, offering just enough detail to show how far she had drifted from the person she once was, without overwhelming the progression of their connection. She vividly described the comforting scent of old books that filled the air and the faint hum of customers chatting about their latest literary finds. She spoke of the warmth she felt when sunlight streamed through the shop's large windows, casting golden patterns on the wooden floors. These memories, steeped in sensory detail, painted a picture of a time when her world felt grounded and full of connection, a stark contrast to the cold, detached luxury of her current life. She fondly remembered the quiet joy of stacking shelves, the comforting scent of old paper, and the way the sunlight streamed through the shop's large windows in the late afternoon. She would tell Julian about the customers who became friends, the book club meetings that turned into lively debates, and the sense of belonging she felt in that little corner of the world. These moments, she confessed, were the times she felt most herself, free and unburdened. Sharing these memories with Julian, she realized how far she had drifted from the person she used to be, and his genuine interest in her stories only deepened their growing connection. She spoke of the joy she found in losing herself in novels, the friendships she built with customers, and the vibrant community events she once loved. Those were the days I felt truly free, she admitted to Julian one afternoon. His genuine interest and laughter at her anecdotes of youthful missteps, like spilling coffee on a rare book and charming her way out of trouble, made her feel understood in a way she hadn't felt in years. Julian's fascination with these stories highlighted the stark contrast between her former life and the gilded cage she now inhabited, drawing her closer to him. She would tell him about her carefree days as a young art student in Paris, where she spent her mornings sketching by the Seine and her evenings in lively cafes with friends. Those were the days when she felt most alive, unburdened by expectations or appearances. Julian listened intently, often laughing at her tales of youthful mischief or marveling at her talent. He shared his own dreams of escaping the struggles of his upbringing, painting a vivid picture of his ambition to one day own a beauty studio that would cater to people from all walks of life. Growing up in a working-class neighborhood, Julian had always felt the odds stacked against him, and his connection with Vanessa was fueled by her understanding of what it meant to feel trapped in a life dictated by others. Together, their shared stories created a bond that went beyond flirtation, anchoring their relationship in a mix of vulnerability and hope. "Why did you ever stop painting?" he asked one day, his voice filled with genuine curiosity. Vanessa hesitated before replying. "Life got in the way. Dreams don't survive practicality." Julian's attention reminded her of the person she once was, and the person she longed to be again. Vanessa, in turn, was drawn to Julian's energy, his dreams of opening his own beauty studio, and the way he made her laugh without trying. Their connection grew stronger with each session, their interactions tinged with a flirtation neither could deny. One afternoon, as Julian packed up his brushes after another session, Vanessa hesitated before speaking. "Julian," she began, her voice soft. "Would you like to stay for lunch? I could use some company." Julian's smile faltered for a moment, but then he nodded. "Of course, Vanessa. I'd love to." That lunch marked the beginning of their affair. At first it was innocent. Shared meals, lingering conversations, stolen glances. But as weeks turned into months, their relationship became more intense. They met in secret, finding moments where they could escape the scrutiny of Vanessa's staff and Gregory's watchful eye. Vanessa felt alive in Julian's presence. He reminded her of the woman she had been before her life became a series of curated appearances and social obligations. Julian, for his part, was captivated by Vanessa's grace, her vulnerability, and the idea of a love that defied the constraints of class and convention. But secrets have a way of surfacing. Gregory, always astute and meticulous, began to notice changes in Vanessa. She was more animated, more distracted, and she spent an unusual amount of time at the spa or with friends. One evening, as Vanessa prepared for another late dinner, Gregory's suspicions reached their breaking point. He hired a private investigator, someone discreet and thorough. Within weeks, Gregory had the answers he feared. Photographs, text messages, and reports detailed Vanessa's affair with Julian. Gregory's first reaction was fury, not just at Vanessa, but at the audacity of someone like Julian daring to disrupt his life. If this story kept you on the edge of your seat, watch out for part 2. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Subscribe for more tales of love, betrayal, and the dark side of human desires.